Thank you for joining the Wayne Bradley Show tonight. We're calling on the air.
Blog Talk Radio.
Give me a call. The calling number is 347-996-3175. I want to make sure everyone the call number tonight is 347-996-3175. I want to say thank you for everyone that's joining me tonight. I haven't been on the air in a while, and I want to thank everyone that's giving me a chance tonight and listening in. We got a lot to talk about. It's been a while since we've actually had a chance to sit here and talk about all the things that's going on here in America. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk first and foremost about this race in 2012 and how things are heating up. So, we have a lot going on. Jon Huntsman just recently jumped into the campaign. Mitt Romney, who is considered the front runner right now, and to be honest, I don't know how much of a front runner he is, but he is considered the front runner right now based on the fact that he's going to be able to raise the money the quickest. He's going to be the one that's able to reach out to people, but that's the name. So we've got Michelle Bachmann, who recently announced, who I think is going to be, president, has definitely positioned herself well to be a vice presidential candidate. And we also have Herman Cain, who I would consider the darling of the Tea Party, but at this point right now, he's considered a long shot. So we got a lot going on here tonight. Who do you think? Who's your favorite person so far in 2012? I'm actually still holding out to see if will Perry, the governor from Texas, is he going to jump in? It seems to me that the people are still not satisfied with the people that we have, available right now. So I don't think that the Republican field is totally done yet. We still have a small amount of time before people can get in there, but it'll be interesting to see if Rick Perry from Texas jumps in. That's about the only guy that I can identify that has not made his intentions clear yet, but will be a formidable candidate. Chris Christie has made it clear, people still him to run, that he's going to run in 2012. So you're not going to get the guy that maybe that you want, but let's keep our eyes open and listen for all the candidates that we do have right now. Me personally, listening to all the candidates, I think that even Tim Pawlenty is a good candidate. He just does not bring the desired effect. He does not get people fired up. That's what you need to run a campaign. You want somebody to believe in you. That's the kind of you need that kind of person to believe in. And so far, I think Bill O'Reilly used the description the best and called him vanilla. And I guess it's almost like calling you boring. So, but we got a lot of people. We're gonna take some calls tonight. See, we got a call already calling in. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this first call. Caller, you're on the air. Caller, can you hear me? Caller, you're on the air. Can you hear me? All right, be patient with me. I'm listening in for you. Caller, can you hear me? Caller, can you hear me? All right, I apologize here. We're trying to get the board together here and get people calling in. We've got someone on the line. I'm interested to hear what they're talking about. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Can you hear me, caller? All right, we're having a little technical difficulty here, and I apologize. That haven't been on the air in a while. I don't know we're having a little technical difficulty here. If you're calling in, be patient with me. 347-996-3175. Let's see here. Caller, can you hear me? All right, we're not getting. I can't hear you, caller. So you gotta reach out to me here. Can you hear me, caller? All right. Well, I'm gonna continue on. We've been talking, like I said, we've been talking more about the race in 2012, and like I said, right now you got Jon Huntsman, who seems to be, what I've seen from across the board, is that he seems to be the more moderate candidate that seems to appeal to people across the board. Which to me, you're trying to win an election is a general election is a good thing. In a primary, I don't know how that's going to play out with the conservatives, the hardcores, but Jon Huntsman has jumped into the race now, and he seems to be picking up some traction. He's got a great record, but again, people don't know about him yet, and he worked for Obama, which to me could be a good thing. I mean, I think that what more than Huntsman had to do explaining, it would be more Obama would have to do explaining on why he hired this man. So I'm sorry for that caller that we lost your call. If you can call back, I appreciate it, but we're just trying to get this set up the right way here, so I apologize. Give us a call, 347-996-3175. I apologize again for that lost call. We're having some technical issues here. Can you hear me? All my people on the chat in the chat room, can you hear me right now? I'm just making sure that all my technical issues are resolved. Can you hear me in the chat room? Give me a yes or a no here. All right, so I apologize, folks. I hadn't been on the air in a while, and I guess I should explain myself for that. I hadn't been on the air in a while because I've been trying to figure out the best ways that I could direct my attention. And okay, thanks, Tyan, for saying you can hear me. Great. I appreciate the feedback on that. I guess I just need to figure out why I can't take calls. Someone give me a call again so I can let's try if we can get this resolved. 347-996-3175. Again, that call-in number is 347-996-3175. So again, let me kind of explain to you what's been going on lately with me and why I took some time off the air. I really wanted to figure out a way that I could best dedicate my time to being an agent for change and making a difference. I've enjoyed doing the radio show. I've enjoyed speaking with all the great guests, people that have on my show. But I effectively did not know if that was going to be the best way for me to help out people and get involved in not only in the world of politics, but in my community, and again create a difference, and for people to see that conservatives are involved in their neighborhoods, do care about urban communities. So during my layoff time, I'll call it my hiatus from the radio show. I created a nonprofit organization that you'll be hearing a lot more about. It's called the Urban Conservative League. And I have a few ideas and some things that I want to do to help improve not only Detroit, that's where I'm from, but also other urban areas. And we're going to be going through with programs to help really create change, whether it be through pushing educational reform. We're going to be adopting emergency pregnancy centers and doing things to help out that help out, also really help out getting involved and making a difference in our communities. So I'm really looking forward to that challenge. I've got some great people that have joined my board here in Michigan, and I'll be making some more announcements about that in the future. But that's kind of like why I took some time off. I've observed everything that's been going on in politics, and I've really grown my base of friends and people through my networks on Facebook, Twitter. Tying that link, I will have that very shortly for you. Again, I'm still in the infancy stages, but we are moving forward, and I appreciate people wanting to know more information about it. But we will definitely have a rollout very shortly, going more in depth on exactly what we're going to be doing, because there have been a lot of organizations before that have tried to get involved But my goal was to not make this just a black conservative organization, but non-partisan organization with people that can work together. Obviously, the name being the Urban Conservative League, you know where we stand, but at the same time, it has to be an inclusive organization to get people involved. If you have someone that's pro-choice, but at the same time they're willing to support the woman that decides to have a child, I want their help too. When it comes to emergency pregnancy centers, I don't believe that this is a political stance that I'm trying to take. This is something more to help the community and for people on both sides to work together to show that we can get things done. So I'm really looking forward to that. And like I said, I'll give more information about that very soon. The website, the Twitter information, everything that's going to come along with the rollout, but it's going to be coming real soon. So thank you, everyone that's been listening. Thank you for your support. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I've been doing for the last couple months. Last show I had, I believe Thaddeus McCotter came on there, and like I said, I love talking to the different politicians and the great guests that I bring on here. But to really get involved in where I'm from in my community, it was going to take some more hands-on, proactive activity, and that's what I've decided to do. So I appreciate everyone that's listened in on my show, and I hope that you'll continue to listen. We're going to get back to a more regular format. I'm just trying to test out to see what hours work best for not only my listeners but for my family, because I want to make sure that this, again, when I'm recording here late in the evening, they sacrifice their time with me, and it's my pleasure to bring the news and talk about the issues, but I want to make sure that I'm bringing a good balance. So to air for a while trying to get all of that together. So I appreciate you listening in tonight, and I appreciate your patience as I come back to the air. So let's get back to this race a little bit more in the race in 2012. The four people that stand out to me right now are John Huntsman, Mitt Romney, who's the front runner, Michelle Bachmann, and Herman Cain. Now, again, if you ask me personally, I would think that Tim Pawlenty is a great candidate. He just hasn't got his message together to the point where it actually is motivating people more to get involved. His record is stellar. I like where he stands on the issues. And let's not forget about Newt Gingrich. I know he's had a lot of shakeups and a lot of people leaving, but the man is brilliant. He, a lot of conservatives don't like him, but it's funny because he was one of the engineers, during the Clinton era of actually getting things reformed. He has a good track record, and the man is highly intelligent. So I'm not counting him out just yet. I don't really think he's going to be a front runner, but I would not count Newt Gingrich out yet. And it's going to be a very exciting race. This time around, Barack Obama is actually going to have to campaign on his own record, which he did not. He had the luxury of not doing before. When he was a senator, he did not really vote on a lot of stuff, and he was able to actually have a record that kept him out of trouble, that did not reflect any of his views. Well, this time around, it's going to be a lot different, and so it won't be as easy as people are thinking. I've heard people make the comments that we have a weak field in the GOP. Actually, it's not a weak field. We just have a lot of different people to choose from. It's a strong field of candidates. It's just going to be a situation where we don't tear each other up in the primary and actually get behind a solid candidate. So it's going to be very interesting moving forward. Tonight, Sarah Palin is actually in Iowa, and we haven't even talked about Sarah Palin yet. She's premiering this new movie that she has, and people have not totally forgot about Sarah Palin. I personally don't think she's going to get involved. I think she enjoys the situation that she has right now, being a contributor. I would say contributor / entertainer / fundraising person. I just don't see that running for president is in her best interest right now. But a lot of people love her, and so I could see that still could be a reality. But she's in Iowa right now premiering a movie, and she has a large following of people. So we'll see what happens. Herman Cain, someone who I actually personally like, and I know the Tea Party people love him. But he's gotten caught in, and we'll just have to see how that plays out down the road. He's gotten caught in some scenarios already where it doesn't appear that he's abreast of the issues where he needs to be for president. So it's kind of time and coaching, and if you're not a politician the way he is, then he might not know exactly. He might not know all the issues the way he needs to be yet. But that does come with training and some education on the issues, and we'll see how he handles that further along. But I think the liberal media has already caught him in a couple of sound bites and things of that nature where they're not necessarily positives, and it'll be interesting to see how he handles that moving forward. So 2012 is wide open right now. Mitt Romney is the front runner, but I would call him the front walker. He's slowly ahead of everyone else, and people are waiting for someone they can gravitate to, someone they can support. So it's going to be interesting. I'd like to hear from the people out there if you can. 347-996-3175. Hopefully this time I'll be able to get your call in. So give me a call. I'd love to chat with you and hear your opinion on who's going to be the front runner. Who would you like to see run here in 2012 for president? Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Again, that call-in number is 347-996-3175. Again, I apologize to everybody out there for taking so much time off in the air, but like I said, I really wanted to get things in order. I've actually had people approaching me. Okay, I think we got a call here. Caller, you on the air?
Yes, hi, Wayne, Tanya.
Caller. So I'm going to take this as something on my end because I can't believe that two people have called and I haven't been able to get a call. So I apologize for that. We have a new switchboard here at the radio show, and I don't know if there's something on my end, but I see that you're calling here, someone from the 203 area code, and I'm trying to get to you here, so be patient with me.
Hi, now I can hear you, but there seems to be a big delay.
Caller, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hello? But there seems to be a big delay.
Caller, now I hear you. I finally got you.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry about that. We got everything working out here. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well from the People's Republic of Connecticut.
People's Republic of Connecticut. And what's your name, ma'am?
Tanya.
Tanya, how you doing? What are you thinking here? We're talking the 2012 race. Who are you looking at, and for what reason?
I am a huge Herman Cain fan.
Okay.
The thing that I like most about him is that he's not a politician and that he is a businessman, and he speaks straight. You know, he doesn't give you a lot of flowery language. He doesn't say one thing and mean another. He tells you what he thinks, and he tells it bluntly, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that he's never been to Washington.
I think that's the recurring theme here a lot. People are tired of D.C. politicians. We've seen with their results. Actually, holding up your resume in D.C. right now doesn't really mean too much to us normal people here that are outside of that area. So how long have you been liking Herman Cain, and how long have you known about Herman?
Probably about 6 or 7 months, I would say.
Okay.
He first came on my radar screen. I'm not sure whether it was through Facebook or maybe somebody sent me a link. I'm not really sure. But the more I read about him and the more I listen to his speeches from his Tea Party rallies on YouTube, the more I like him.
Yep, I agree. I think the only issue, and I already said, I think that he's already kind of gotten caught in some sound bites that can get you in trouble with the media, and that they will report that in a way that does not look good for him. But I like where he stands on most issues myself. I guess the challenge would be, will he continue to fight against the establishment? Because he's not the establishment candidate, and I think that's what you're going to see a lot of in 2012 is establishment candidates against the people that people really want to see in office.
I think that the one big problem that at least my Tea Party friends have with him is that he was served on the board of a Federal Reserve Bank. That doesn't bother me one way or the other. I think, since the days of Jefferson and Hamilton, we've been fighting about whether there should or should not be a central bank. So that debate is as old as the country. So that particular thing does not bother me at all about Kaine, and that seems to be the thing that, my friends bring up the most about him.
Right. It doesn't bother you at all that he wouldn't even favor an audit of the Fed?
I think that if it came up, he would probably back it, but it doesn't bother me that it's not his central issue.
Okay.
No, it doesn't bother me.
What do you think the GOP, moving forward, what do you think these candidates need to make their biggest issue? And what do you think they're missing?
I think that they are missing what we all are trying to say, which is stop doing whatever it is that you are doing and get out of our way. I'm waiting for somebody to say, I'm so sick of hearing we have to create jobs, we have to, help the economy, we have to recover, we have to go in a new direction. I'm tired of hearing all those platitudes. What I want to hear from somebody is the first thing I'm going to do is abolish this administration or that administration, and we're going to get out of your way. We're going to go back to the way things used to be and let the American entrepreneurial spirit lift us up. And the best thing that we can do for you is step aside. And I'm waiting for somebody to say that in a more plain manner.
I got you. Okay. What about the idea? Have any of them stood out to you on education, border safety? I mean, any of these other issues that really stick out? I haven't heard anyone talk about education. I think that's kind of throws me off a little bit here.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody talk about border security in a way that makes me comfortable. None of them have really come out and said anything about what I think are these sort of drip of atrocities of the TSA. They're all dancing around the issue of amnesty. For me, I think something a little bit firmer. In fact, maybe even take President Obama's joke about a moat and some alligators and turn it into a more affirmative statement. Like, yeah, we really do need to secure the borders, and not in this namby-pamby way that we're doing it, but in a really serious way. But none of them seem to be tackling the issue. They all seem to be afraid of the issue.
I think another thing I think that we're making a mistake on is that we're going too far and just trying to criticize Obama, not come up with our own plans. Because, we all get that. We all know where Obama stands. Now it's time to hear what your plans are. It's time to hear what you plan to do differently, because I'm not hearing enough yet clear messaging from any of these candidates on those issues yet.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't know if you really have to search it out. You really have to do some digging on the Internet to find where they stand on various issues without all the platitudes. And it's very hard in the 30-second soundbite on the news to get that sort of thing, and the real deep in the weeds conversations that need to take place so that we know where these people stand. You have to go onto the Internet and dig into their websites to really find it, which is a real shame. And even when you get there, most of it is fluff. The only person that I've seen that gets really deep into the weeds on these issues is Gingrich, and he's an absolute non-starter for me. You can't sit on the couch with Nancy Pelosi and get my vote. Period. End of story.
And that's what I've told people, that Newt Gingrich actually has some of the best solutions. It's just a matter of he's done too much stuff in his private sector now that I think is going to turn off real conservative voters.
Yeah, he's very cerebral, and that's all well and good, but he's certainly no firebrand.
Right.
But he is deep in his core a Politico, and I think that he will cut deals and tinker around the edges rather than do these wonderful, grandiose things that he says he's going to do, because that's just the nature of who he is.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I thank you for calling in tonight and giving your opinion. I hope you continue listening to the show. I really appreciate you calling in. And we're going to keep watching for this 2012 election because, I mean, we have, Rick Perry hasn't jumped in yet, and a lot of time. So let's keep an eye on it. And thank you again for calling in and giving your opinion.
Will do. Thank you, Wayne. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. And I think that's, just like listening to our previous call, I think that's one thing that, you have people like Newt Gingrich who has the ideas, but because of the people he's associated with and done things in the past, a hard time getting the support of true conservatives out there. I'm on my chat board right now. People say they can hear me. I've got a small delay, but thank you for everybody. I see Mel's on there. How you doing, Mel? I ain't talked to you in a while. Michael, Tanya, and a couple other guests. So I appreciate everybody for listening in on the chat room. The second issue we're going to talk about tonight, and I don't know how many people want to call in and chime in on this, and I'm going to try maybe even reaching out to some people, is what's going on in New York right now. And with the passing of gay, marriage equality is what they're calling it, but essentially it's same-sex marriage, gay marriage. I've talked to multiple people on this issue. Me personally, I am not for gay marriage. I think marriage should be simple. It should be between one man, one woman. But a lot of people nowadays are taking different opinions on that. And I think it's interesting, more than anything, just even my lifetime, I'm about to be 35, just watching the way the attitudes have changed about these things over the years is pretty amazing. Now, me personally, again, me saying I'm against it, I've had people who I consider conservatives and people who are, respected people that believe that this is more of a constitutional issue and not a moral issue. And, although I disagree with them, you have people who are making compelling arguments that this is none of anybody's business and that people should be able to do whatever they want to do. And I personally disagree because, again, I think marriage is a sacred institution. That's something that through history, through different cultures, one man, one woman, to procreate and create families, you need one man, one woman. So I don't understand in our culture now the way we're kind of just turning a blind eye to things that we did not do, not even 10, 15 years ago. And it surprises me just as much how many conservatives and Republicans now that are riding that wave and are comfortable with it. And I believe it has a lot to do with maybe a personal circumstance, like where you have like our former Vice President Cheney, who has a daughter that's gay, that is slowly but surely moving to in a way that Republicans are supporting. It would not have gotten passed in New York if Republicans wouldn't have passed that bill. So, and I want to know people's opinions on this. Certain people feel different ways about it. Is this a constitutional issue? Is this a moral issue? And what's your opinion? What effect does this have on families? I'd be interested to hear from you. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Again, the call-in number is 347-996-3175. What's your opinion on this? What do you believe the effects of gay marriage will have on the families here in America? Is it minimal to nothing? Is this just strictly a constitutional issue where someone like myself who does believe in the Constitution and believes that we should adhere to it as much as possible, is this something where we just need to mind our business? I like to hear from the people out there. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I want to reach out to see if I can reach out to some people on this issue. Who's again someone I respect, but we have a different take on this issue. Give me a call if you're out there. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. What's your opinion on gay marriage? And I want to hear it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and post this on Twitter too. I want to see if we can get anybody calling in. Either way, I really like to hear someone that's hear their side of the story for being for it, as opposed to just the people that are against it. I know that most of my conservative constituents are going to say they're against it. But again, for the spirit of the debate, I think it's great to get people from both sides of the issue to call in. So give me a call, 347-996-3175. Yeah, I'm going to give you I'm actually going to post something right now. I want to hear somebody who actually can defend this position in a way that, again, that is not offensive, but it's just something we might disagree on, but it is a way of looking at it from a libertarian standpoint. Give me a call, Leon, 347-996-3175. Marriage equality. That's the word, I guess, now. Instead of calling it gay marriage, we're going to switch it around and call it marriage equality, which, again, people are, we just totally changed the way we look at society, and I guess that's come with the times. I'll tell you one thing that does kind of annoy me, and I said it once before. I've had people tell me as an African-American man that I should be supporting gay marriage because it's about discrimination, and how can a black man support anything that discriminates against someone? I don't look at that as discrimination. I don't look at getting married as a right of everyone, and it again, this is something I believe is between a man and a woman, but it should be something in place, I suppose, to provide for one's benefits. If you have a private work for a company and they offer that and you want to do that, and if you're in the hospital and they want to visit you and you're having complications for doing that because you're not, some sort of, on paperwork, I don't have as much as an issue with the legal issue of it, but calling it marriage to me is just plain wrong. What do you think, people? Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I'm really interested in hearing someone from both sides of the issue. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I'm really interested in hearing from somebody. So on my Facebook page, I see a lot more comments about these things, and like I said, it's just interesting to see exactly where people are at with these issues. But give me a call, 347-996-3175. And this is another question I ask people when we're talking this issue. If we're going to allow gay marriage and we're going to allow people of the same sex to get married, are we going to open the door for polygamy? Because those people have rights too, and it's actually part of their religious culture. And in other countries, people do practice polygamy. It's not necessarily in modernized countries and places of that nature, but we do have places that celebrate that. So are we going to, again, open the door for more of that? Are we going to open the door for polygamy? And I imagine you're going to have people wanting to marry all kind of things down the road. So, it's so much more simple to keep it simple and say marriage is between one man and one woman. So if a man who wants to marry 2 or 3 wives, should he be allowed to do that? You tell me. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you right now. Just send a message out to all my friends on Twitter. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Now, me personally, again, I guess I said dealing with people of all backgrounds and all, from every corner of the earth, and when we talk about dealing with people, it doesn't bother me as much that we're discussing the issue. I just think that it gets so much more personal when people say that, again, as a black man, I've got to support that. I'm some sort of bigot myself if I don't support gay marriage. And it's just, as a Christian, from what I've been taught all my life, that's wrong. So I can't support something that I've been taught all my life is wrong. Now maybe some other people are willing to turn a blind eye to that. I'm sure there are. There are pastors and others that are willing to do that, whether it be for the right or wrong reason, whether they feel are right. I just can't do that. I will not put I stand by what I've been taught, and that's the way I stand. But again, I think over time, as we see here now, me personally, from a political standpoint, I think you do put it in the hands of the voters, not necessarily in the hands of the politicians, but in the hands of the voters, and let them, let state to state, let them vote for it. And if you have these states that will support it, then those are the states that are going to reap those or the benefits or consequences of allowing that in their state. I figure from an economy standpoint, a place like New York, you're going to have a lot more gay weddings and things of that nature there now. I'm sure there'll be some sort of economic boom for them. And again, people will have to decide how they want their economies to boom and how they want things to progress. I don't think in most states you're going to get that to pass when you put it in the hands of the voters. But these politicians that are, what I would consider, aiming for and politicizing the gay vote, that's the Democrats' tactics in general on these things. I believe, like I said, you're going to have some Republicans doing it. I don't think they're really going after it for the terms of the vote as much as they are. It's become some kind of personal agenda. One of the large financiers in New York who funded this, his son was gay. So I mean, again, these are more personal issues. I don't think that they have the means and the sophistication to get it done, with their money and whatnot to get it done. But these are personal issues. I'm sure before in the last year or two, this wasn't something they would agreed on. But again, when you got your own family and things of that nature staring you in the face, some of these opinions have been, changed and manipulated, I'll say. So I'm interested to hear from the people listening out there. I'm in the chat room. Give me a call, 347-996-317. Oh, we got a couple people calling. They called at the same time here. So I've got two calls. I'm going to take my call from the 845 area code first, and I'm going to put the call on hold from 734. So be patient with me, okay?
Sure.
Caller, you're on the air.
Oh, wow. I was surprised I got through. I just seen your tweet on line, and I just decided to call. I was surprised I got through.
Well, you're on the air now. How you doing?
I just want to talk a little politics, and get what your thought of Michelle Bachmann was.
Michelle Bachmann. I actually like Michelle Bachmann. I've had her on the show before. I think she's a qualified lady. She stands strong on her principles, which I definitely. I think she's going to have some questions to answer. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that's came out today with her husband accepting and also other members of her family accepting a lot of these subsidies and grants and things that she's so adamantly against and wants to cut and slash. So I think that'll be interesting. But I definitely like Michelle Bachmann. I think at the very least at this point, she's positioned herself to, if not be a presidential candidate, but a very strong vice presidential candidate. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward how she handles the issues. But I definitely like Michelle Bachmann. How do you feel about her?
Personally, I'm a diehard liberal, so I just be honest with you. I take everybody's thoughts into consideration. There's some things that I would like to see changed that I think Obama could do a little bit better on, like getting us out of this recession in terms of cutting spending, entitlements. Everything should be available to be cut. I think tax loopholes should be definitely closed. That's one thing I don't really hear people saying too much, especially Mitch McConnell. I heard him with his comments the other day. I mean, you talked about shared sacrifice, but you don't want to close these tax loopholes. That's just, to be honest with you, that's just, in my opinion, that's ignorant. And I think what he needs to do is check what he says before he says it. And I mean, because you want to slash entitlements and you want to cut spending. You know, I mean, I guess
spread it around. You got to spread it around to everybody. It can't just be on the backs of the people. I mean, I agree with you totally when you talk about the tax loopholes for big businesses. It's some joke that
I think a lot of people like to get on GE, but the thing with GE is that they're right in that same thing. They avoid tax penalties. But I think a lot of what they do is they set themselves up with a lot of their tax breaks through going green, and a lot of these companies that a lot of these people on the right who whine about GE this, GE that. If you want to get some of those tax breaks that they do get for going green, then you got to do that. I mean, are they anything special?
Some of these green credits are no more than a way of rewarding these people because, I mean, some of this stuff is research and things that are going to happen in years and years down the road. And essentially, these people can afford to cover their end on taxes. I mean, again, I have no allegiance to any big business. So if it's GE, if it's Exxon, I mean, they're all, again, these are the guys that are making billions and they're not paying taxes. So I think I definitely agree with you that the loopholes need to be closed for everybody. I don't really care if it's GE, Chase. I don't care if it's oil company. So you know what? I actually, you're a rare breed of liberal there, my friend. What's your name?
My name is Fred. I live in Orange County, New York.
Fred in Orange County, New York. Now you're in New York, Fred. How do you feel about this marriage equality bill that they just passed there?
Me personally, I don't care the way you live your life. I always felt like that the government and churches don't own the marriage, so there's no copyright on it. So why are they telling people that they can't do something? It's just like saying I can't sit on a bus because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Or
you know what? That's every day I've gotten a comparison between, and I think that's really the start. I've gotten a comparison between civil rights of African Americans and the plight of marriage equality with gay people, and I say this is the one thing about that. And I can understand the parallel in a way, but every day I wake up as an African American. And there's nothing I can do to hide that or anything I can do to be discreet about that. And I think that when you start talking about marriage, now some people disagree that marriage is a religious ceremony, and that's something even in different religions, it's still something that's done under God, whether it be Allah, obviously Jesus Christ. But it's a religious ceremony.
Does the church, do they actually own it? It's like it's like the church is a business in a sense, but do they have a copyright on it? Is it like you have a patent, like for a certain part in a car that nobody else can produce? They don't have that, so why is it that they own it when they don't have that? You know what I mean?
Would it be a compromise? And I'm just asking this question because I haven't got to talk to a lot of people about it. Would a compromise be saying something along the lines of a civil union, but just not calling it marriage, or is it just that's not enough? Do you think that's just not enough?
Oh, for me, you know what? I just think like for me, it feels like they're trying to own it when no one really owns it. It's not like someone's last name and you can't use it for something. It's it's a word. It's it's something. It's the way it's it's pronounced. Maybe they can have something different. For me, I mean, I'm not gay, but I mean, I don't really care, but in that sense. But I mean, it's just the word behind it. It's like they think they own it. Like I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a really church going person. I don't really. I'll just say I'm an atheist basically, but I mean I don't really believe in God, but I mean a lot of people might not like that, but I mean that's just my belief. But
all I can do is pray for you, Fred, but I can appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, but it's just like like when I think back about on a lot of things and like you know, like the church's history, like when I look back on things like that and where the churches came from to where they are now, if you look at the church's history, the church's history is pretty checkered. You know, it's got a lot of dark spots on it. You know, I mean.
I understand. Trust me, I definitely understand that argument.
I mean, it's like religion's not, you know, wasn't what it was back. You know, I mean, it's different now. You know, it's obviously, you know, more serious. You wouldn't have, you know, people would be getting prosecuted for some of the stuff that they did back, you know, back in medieval times and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just like sometimes it's like hard for me to grasp onto that when. You know, the whole aspect of church. But I don't want to take up your time. I appreciate you taking my call. I was very surprised to get through. It's always good to have a good conversation with someone about politics. I'm always down for that. But you have a good night, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Fred. I appreciate you calling in. I hope you listen in again. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, well, that was Fred calling in from New York. I'm about to take this other call. I got someone from my home state here. Caller, you on the air?
Hi, Wayne, it's Chris Wensley. I followed you on Twitter for some time, and I saw your tweet, and I thought I'd call in.
All right. Well, so we're talking right now. We just started talking a little bit more about this marriage equality, and I want to know what did you think about the law in New York, and I'll go from there.
Well, I thought it was a positive step. And it had all the elements for what we're going to need in the future of forming a compromise around this issue, because it's going to be important that, from my perspective, that we enhance everybody's rights so that everybody's treated equally in the eyes of the law, while at the same time being respectful of the religious heritage of the institution as well. And of course, New York. Go ahead.
That's the first time that I've heard someone actually say, you know, that you actually have to be conscious of that now, because it seems like the Christians are actually getting the bad name now. We're being labeled as the bigots, and I think that's that approach that needs to be taken, is that there are people that are Christians, and we have a long history of that just simply don't believe in that lifestyle and that sort of thing. So I understand people have rights, and I guess that's what I want to know. Do you believe it's a constitutional issue, or is it a moral issue? What do you think?
It's going to be defined by the Constitution when this Prop 8 decision goes before the Supreme Court. Of course, I mean, the moral aspect of it is when we're talking about marriage, we're talking about a secular institution that can have religious enhancement, but in the eyes of the law, it's secular.
Right.
Obviously, religion's not an inherent part of it. We let people on death row marry. So it has no religious part in terms of the actual law itself. But in terms of the culture, we absolutely have there is absolutely a religious part of it.
Okay.
But when you're talking about it from a legal perspective, it is secular.
Okay. Do you think so? Would you support or accept if they made a law trying to push for polygamy? I mean, because that's to me, this is my issue with this, and I think this is where people have to look at it. Is once you open up this door, when you take away the simplicity of one man, one woman, what's not to prevent someone from coming up and saying, you know what, I want to marry 3 women. You know, I can afford it, and my lifestyle allows me to do this, and I love all 3 of these women. Why can't I marry them? That's my right. I mean, if these 2 guys or 2 women have the right to marry each other and they care about each other, why can't I marry these 3 women? I can care for them all. I can provide for them all. What would be the argument against that at this point?
Well, it's a good question. Actually, it's often dismissed, but
because some people try to make it. And I'll just say like this: some people try to compare it to all kind of vile things, and my simplest question, like I say, and that's what I'm asking you is, okay, so now that if we allow that, who's going to stop the guy that legitimately wants polygamy? And should we try to if we're going to allow same-sex marriage?
Well, marriage throughout history, and of course you can throw in the man-woman thing, has always been between two people, and it's a contract between two people.
Okay.
So, and we have those all the time where it's a singular, it's a singular contract between two people. So, in terms of the law, when you have multiple parties, that has to be laid out in intense terms. And when you're talking about spousal rights, those are also singular between two people. So it doesn't necessarily do everything to dismiss that possibility, but when you look at it purely as marriage as contract, add another third party would be a whole other thing from a legal perspective.
Okay. Now, do you consider yourself politically? Where do you look at yourself right now? Where do you stand? Are you conservative?
I'm a moderate Democrat.
A moderate Democrat. Okay. All right. Okay, gotcha. And again, I guess so. The question I ask: do you think that has any effect also on families? Do you think that same-sex marriages should be able to adopt kids? Where do you stand on that?
That's a good question. When you look, unfortunately, now at the world that we have children across this country that are in some really, really terrible places that will never be adopted.
Right.
And we don't have adopted children are not they are a plenty, and obviously there has to be some caveats between it. We need to make sure that these kids are going to a safe, committed home.
Right.
But as far as the gender of the people involved, I think it's
because
I also think it's not necessarily a defining. It should be a defining thing. No.
Okay, so that's what I'm. This is the thing. I think that because once you open the door, it has so many other effects. Like I said, you start having people who want to adopt kids, and you want people that want to have more than one wife or more than one partner, and so do you think that would have any negative effect on families? I mean, a person like me, I'll just say, use myself as an example. I grew up watching everything my father did, and I can't imagine that. And this is there's no offense to anyone. I can't imagine that if a little boy is watching his father, who he has two dads, how that would not affect his outlook on life and the possibility that he could probably grow up, and maybe if he and because he's seen that lifestyle, might be more quickly to gravitate towards that because that's what he saw, that's what he knows, that's what's normal to him. You don't think that would have a possible long-term effect on these on kids that possibly get adopted by a same-sex?
No, because studies have shown time and time again that the sexual orientation of children raised by gay couples is the same as those raised by straight couples.
Okay.
And to throw in the caveat, most gay Americans were raised by straight parents.
Okay, I got you. So it could happen either way. Then I guess that's what you're kind of getting at. Okay, well, that's been a good look at. I appreciate your perspective on it. And where are you calling from again, Chris?
Livonia.
Livonia. Thank you I appreciate you for calling in. I hope you continue to listen to the show, and appreciate your time tonight.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Chris, for calling in. Again, I think that we're not looking at all the different things that can happen when we're pushing these laws through. Because again, now his argument was saying that most gay people were parents were straight. I would imagine they were, but I just cannot imagine that won't have some kind of effect on a young boy that's watching his father interact with other men. I don't see how that does not affect the long-term growth of that little boy. I mean, where you get your mannerisms, where you get some of your confidence and ideas on how to approach women, everything comes from your dad if you're blessed enough and lucky enough to have one. So I can't imagine how that transfers when make sure. So I'm getting some here. Let's see. Can't hear, but I can read you. Make sure. Okay, yeah. Mike, if you, I don't know if there's something with your buttons. I know I had to hit my speaker sound buttons to turn you up. So I'm sorry if you can't hear me, but I was just hitting your. Make sure your mute button isn't toggled. Thanks, Tyan, for keeping me involved here. I'm also reading my switchboard here. But again, like I was saying, I just can't imagine how that does not affect the long-term growth of boys or girls if you're growing up in a house where you have same-sex parents and you're trying to identify with how things go amongst heterosexual couples, and I can't imagine that won't cause some initial confusion, whether it be in preschool or a little bit older, trying to explain that you have two dads or two moms. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not capable. I've actually known people who growing up who might have had parents that were homosexual and they were fine, didn't grow up to be homosexuals. So I mean that does carry some weight, but I just can't imagine that being the scenario for a lot of kids, and we're going to test that out. And again, I know that these people who are wanting gay marriage are not going to be happy with just civil union, so they want the whole kit and caboodle, marriage or nothing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays along. I want any of my conservatives out here. I'm looking at Tanya. You've got a lot to say. Tanya, give me a call here. 347-996-3175. We've had two people pretty much call in and almost in support of gay marriage. I shouldn't say almost. They were in support of it. They think it's about time. We had a guy, Fred, calling from New York, and Chris, who's calling from my home state here in Livonia, Michigan. So give me a call. I'd love to hear some different opinions. 347-996-3175. To me, it's more than just a name. I know that was the comment. Marriage is just a name that Christians and churches don't have a copyright on that name. But in multiple cultures, you have marriage, and it's between a man and a woman. I mean, I think that in our culture now and the way things have gone, it's making things more complicated than they need to be. Quite simply, it just we make things more difficult. Marriage should be real simple. One man, one woman. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Got some other things we can talk about here. While if anybody wants to call in and talk a little bit more about that, we're going to talk a little bit about raising the debt ceiling. Now, personally, I'm not a finance major, but I get the idea. If your credit cards are maxed out, I can't call MasterCard and tell them to raise my limits again. And that's essentially where we're at now. The Republicans don't want to raise the debt ceiling if they can't get guarantees on spending. And so I think that's a good stance to take. But the Democrats don't want to do any serious. And to be honest, I'll be honest here and say this. Both sides are not serious about cutting the spending in D.C. It's real easy to pick on Democrats because a lot of their programs tend to be the programs that are considered entitlement programs that really don't bring any return on the investment for the money that goes out. And Republicans are heavily vested with military spending projects, and no one is seriously tackling Social Security and health care. And I really do think it's going to have to come from someone that's a D.C. outsider. Probably someone younger, too. I just don't think that anyone that's considered a baby boomer or anything like that has any true desire to mess with Social Security or any of the long-term programs, healthcare programs, because, again, that affects them. And I think that's where a lot of things stand in America, is that we don't have a problem cutting something until it affects us or into our own backyards, and I think that we all have got to get past that. We've all got to learn how to bite this bullet. It wasn't my generation that created this debt. It was my parents' generation and maybe my grandparents' generation, but we're the ones paying it off, and it typically does not work like that. If you ask a lot of parents, would you want to leave a debt to your kids I guarantee the answer would be no, but yet still the way we're moving and functioning as a government, that's exactly what's going on right now. I think, again, it's going to take people that are younger, that are thinking about the future and not strictly about right now and how they can win political votes, because what's going on with Paul Ryan and his budget, which to me is ambitious, but still doesn't go far enough in addressing all the things that need to be done. He took a big chunk out of Medicare and programs, but does not address military spending, does not address Social Security the way it needs to be addressed. And until we do that, none of these guys, in my opinion, are serious enough about challenging this debt and actually making us move in a better financial standing. Sometimes it's hard to go along with the opinions of people like Ron Paul, but I think he's almost dead on with a lot of our military activity. I'm conflicted on that in some ways, because I feel like we have to do what we need to do to protect Israel. But I think sometimes some of these other wars that we're getting involved into, and Libya right now, where we're bombing Libya, but the liberal media is giving President Obama so much cover. We're not, they're not covering that on a daily basis the way they did Iraq, and we're doing the exact same thing over there. We don't have ground troops in there, but we are as Muammar Gaddafi if we're at war with them, or we're just helping maintain an operation. We are at war with them. We're bombing them. We tried to bomb his personal hideout, his home. So I just don't buy in the fact that we're not at war right now. And it's amazing to me to watch the way liberals and the media, are pretty much quiet, sitting there, not saying a word, because this is for their guy. This is their policies that they're enacting. This is their wars, and the only thing they can continue to do is blame George Bush. So I think that, moving forward, it's going to take some people that are not in bed with either military companies that do a lot of contracting, and you'll find a lot of that down south, and through the Kentuckys and the Carolinas and these places where they build a lot of these things. And these are where the Republicans, these are their guys, these are the people they defend. I think that it's got to be across the board. You can't ask all the people that don't have jobs, don't have the means to give up, to ask them to kick in more. We're not going after big businesses, and not to go after them on what they can't afford, but we're talking about the loopholes that allow them not only to not pay taxes, but to get large tax credits. You know what? I could personally live with some of these big companies that didn't pay taxes, if they're going out to employees and the shareholders that will continue to pay those taxes. But when you get a tax credit, there's something inherently wrong with that, and it's all because of the way the tax system is set up, where these guys, the big companies like GE, the ExxonMobil, they paid lobbyists to guarantee that these tax rates and these things are beneficial to them and pretty much no one else. So I think that those are the things that we're going to need from our leaders moving forward in 2012. It's not strictly an attack on Obama. It's an attack on the D.C. culture. It's not, Obama's just part of the problem. He's got a D next to his name, and he's got R's next to their name that are doing the exact same thing. And until you get people that are chosen by the people, not chosen by the parties, chosen by the elitists, you're going to continue to have that problem. You can't let special interest groups from either side be the crown makers in our two parties. And then again, that's what sheds light on the fact that the two-party system is broke. It allows the corruption. It allows people to be bought off. And I think that, again, those are the things that we got to look at if we're serious about reforming the way this country moves. And Tanya, me and you are on the same page. 10% flat tax, no deductions, no exclusions, no exceptions. The flat tax, that would make things a lot easier. You would pick up, and that goes across the board for everybody. You tax, all of a sudden now you're not worried about these guys that are coming in. A flat tax on them, and also a flat sales tax. That way we do collect from everyone that spends money here in America, whether you're here legally or illegally, whether you have an all-cash business, whatever that might be, we will collect if you're buying things. And I think that's again, you need new ideas, people that are willing to step up and think outside the box. Most of these guys are comfortable with their donors, and those are the people they want to appease. And that's the results we're getting here in D.C. right now. We're getting a bunch of people that are elected, and not really elected by people, they're chosen by the elitists, whether it be, again, on the Republican or Democratic side. They're chosen by the people that have the means and the resources to put these people in place to get things done that they want for them. And I think that as a normal American, I am tired of a small few controlling everything that goes on in this country. And I think that the Republican and Democrat, you got to be conscious to that and know what's going on out here. So, what do you have to say about that, America? What do you think we need to do? Leadership. Again, they've fallen on deaf ears because they're not willing to challenge people. What do you think we need to do to get this country back on track? Give me a call, 347-996-3175. All right. This is what I'm talking about. And again, I'm doing the show right now. I want people to understand that I'm a proud Republican. I have no problems with saying that, but my party lets me down too. And the people here, we got to start. We have to get more involved. I've said from the beginning. I think that Herman Cain is what I consider the people's champ right now. But will the people's champ win against the big corporate donors and the corporate donations of people like John Huntsman and Mitt Romney? That will be the challenge. Will he be able to raise funds to compete with these guys? If I was, someone that analyzes these things, I would think right now that's going to be a big problem. But you have to be willing to step up to the plate. So that's going to be up to the American people. We have to not only talk with our heart and emotions, we're going to really have to get out and support someone if we want someone that's going to be an agent for change. Call in right now, 347-996-3175. I want to hear from you. Again, talking about that debt ceiling, I just don't see how any good conservative can feel good about raising the debt ceiling without getting some assurances that we're going to get cut down the spending. That to me is the most important thing about that issue. If they're gonna raise the debt ceiling, which it appears that a lot of Republicans are going to be willing to do at some point, then they need to make sure they get some assurances that the spending is going to get under control. What do you think, people? Should we raise the debt ceiling? 347-996-3175. So far we have people calling from New York, Michigan. I had a 313 caller. I'm mad I missed you. I would love to talk to you there. Give me a call again if you're still listening. 347-996-3175. I love hearing from my people in the area. Got a lot going on here too. Let's see here. So did anybody hear last night about what happened to Glenn Beck? Glenn Beck went to a movie in New York City. He took his daughter and his wife, and he was harassed. Wine was thrown on his wife. What is the problem with liberals and their non-tolerance? Now, I'll be honest, it doesn't get that bad with me because I don't think I say the things that Glenn Beck says and some of these other people do. But why is it there's such a lack of intolerance for conservative voices here in America? What fuels that hatred and that lack of tolerance? Give me a call, 347-996-3175. Glenn Beck was, I could tell he was disturbed. Mike, welcome to the party. You can hear us now. All right, glad you can listen in. Give me a call if you're listening in, 347-996-3175. We are talking the debt ceiling. We've talked a little bit about marriage equality. And again, we're kind of talking a little bit more about Glenn Beck and his situation of he got harassed. His daughter, his wife. Now I'll tell people right now listening that's where I draw the line is with my family. The family is off limits. I don't try to demonize other people, so I don't expect that to happen to me. Got a caller here calling from the 601 area code. I'm going to take the call. Caller, you on the air?
Is this the Wayne Bradley Show?
It sure is. Who am I speaking with?
How you doing, sir?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing good. My name is Jeremiah Body, and I live in the state of Mississippi. I'm 17 years old, and I'm assuming this is a political show from what I read from your Facebook status, right?
It sure is, Jeremiah. We've talked before. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. I would like to make a quick comment about Obama's health care plan and his economic plan that's going to affect the African-American community. I just want to say, I respect him. He is the President of the United States, and I respect him. But if we look at it from a pure numbers standpoint, the African-American community unemployment rate is over 10%. Now, I was always raised as a child, and I don't mean to be provocative here, but if the white community goes through a recession, black people go through a depression. Well, I mean, here we are, we're in a recession. This guy wants to spend money we don't have, force health care on us that we don't want, and unemployment is going up steadily. No, let's talk about the tax cuts. He said, I want to tax people making $250,000 more. There are a million small black business owners. There's African Americans writing checks to other African Americans to put food on the table. He's never had to look someone in the face and say, I'm sorry, I can't afford you anymore. I'm going to have to fire you. I don't care if you have a family of four. I'm trying to save money to feed my family of four. So if we look at this economic plan that this guy has proposed, it's just not doable. It's not workable. And we can vote and say he's the first black president. Wonderful. Great. There have been a lot of firsts and stuff that messed it up. Let's just be honest here. So let's not get private here and say he's our first black president. If the man doesn't have anything that's going to work, then why should we even put him in power? There's a guy here in Mississippi named Johnny Dupree running for governor. He's an African-American. Going to be the first African-American. I don't like his morals, nothing he stands for, but I think it's great. So what I'm trying to say here is let us as African-Americans not get proud in the titles because this guy is messing up our community. And unless we vote him out, we're going to be screwed in the next 4 years, to be quite honest with you, Mr. Bradley.
I agree with that. Who are right now, we were discussing the 2012 race earlier. Who is your favorite guy? Who's your favorite candidate? I shouldn't even say guy now at this point. Who's your favorite candidate in 2012?
This is going to sound kind of funny, but Herman Cain. I like Herman Cain a whole lot.
It's not sounding funny. You're the second caller I've had call in tonight. Again, and I just said that myself. I think Herman Cain represents what's considered being the people's champ. I think that his biggest issue will become fundraising and challenging the big name guys on name recognition and things of that nature. So
I think if he just sticks to what he believes in, I think, and he's always believed that God kept him alive for a reason. If he stands on that, he'll get what he needs. I mean, they said Reagan couldn't win. They told Reagan, you're not able to do this, man. And look what we got when we elected Reagan. So I mean, anything's possible. So I mean, if he stares in the face of adversity, I mean, he can do it. I have faith in him. I
agree. He definitely has a chance. Even myself, I don't think that we've given him. Let's see. I've got people listening on the show. This is the thing. I think Herman Cain has a chance. He just has to stay away from some of the sound bites that he gets lured into. Make better decisions on that, and I definitely think he has a chance. And Jeremiah, I want to thank you for calling in. You said you're 17 years old?
Yes, sir, I did.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you calling in and taking a stake in your future and actually caring about it. It's not a lot of us. So you'll be voting next year, 2012.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. I'm so happy to exercise my civic duty.
You sound mature beyond your years already for recognizing that. So thank you again for calling in. Listen, I'm telling somebody right now, Michael Harris, he's on my chat board. He's saying 17. Like he's questioning. He'll be 18 next year, Michael, and he'll be voting. And so I appreciate young people like Jeremiah listening in and adding his opinion. So thanks again, Jeremiah, for calling in, and I appreciate you listening to the show. Have a good evening.
You too, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So we've had people calling in from Detroit. We've had people calling in from New York, Mississippi. We've got people calling in all over the country tonight, giving their opinions. Mel, one of my favorite concerns. I knew you would like. Well, if we could get Allen West in there, I think most of us would take him in a heartbeat. But he's not, just like Tiny just said it the minute I was saying it. I think we'd all be happy if Allen West would run, but I think we're just going to have to wait till 2016. But I know I speak for a lot of people saying that if Allen West ran, we'd all be up in arms. And Mel, I knew you know, Michelle Bachmann, again, she's strong. I'm really looking forward to this 2012 race, hoping that our Republican brothers will not be so brutal on each other that they tear each other up before we get to Obama. But Mel, thanks for giving me your opinions, and I appreciate you've been a good friend of mine on Facebook and Twitter for the last 2 years. I'm actually tomorrow will be celebrating my 2-year anniversary on Twitter. Just hit 19,000 followers, so I mean I'm really feeling blessed and feeling great to have so many great friends and followers on Twitter. So thank you, and Mel, God bless you, my friend. Your Lakers, we took a bad loss this year. Your Sacramento Kings just picked up Frederick, so we're gonna see what's going on there. We don't have any football to talk about yet, but my Lions are looking actually a little bit better this year, and your Kansas City Chiefs are looking good too. So hopefully let's get some football season in. I could talk a whole hour about that and how we need to get that back on track, but this is politics tonight. But I appreciate everybody that's been listening in. Give me a call. The calling number is 347-996-3175. Again, that call-in number is 347-996-3175. Give me a call. I'm thinking right now. I'm reading through some of my messages here. I want to thank everyone that's been giving me all this encouragement about possibly running for a political position in the state of Michigan. I want to thank everyone that's so far that's been giving me encouragement on that. I'll just say right now that I have not made my mind up on doing anything like that. I do give you some of my insight. I do have the support of my wife at this point, but it does require a big commitment to run for any position. And I'm still kind of getting feedback and waiting on the numbers to hear how feasible something is like that. But I will tell you that I am considering it, and if I do make a decision to go in that route, it will be a relatively quick decision as far as when I'll let people know. But I'm still thinking about it, and I want to thank a lot of the people that have given me the support and even the chance to even think about something like that. So thanks, Mel. Like I said, we got a long season here coming up. Tanya, thank you for your interaction here on the chat room. Good night for you. And like I said, we've been going on an hour here, so I appreciate everyone that called in. Give me a call, 347-996-3175. I don't know if anybody saw that story or not about the TSA, about the old lady being searched online at the airport. I think that was pretty disgusting. They made her take off her diaper, her adult diaper. Where's the common sense in all of this? I know that people do, some people do. Terrorists have been known to put things on babies and older people, but a little old lady with a diaper on, to me, just does not scream terrorist suspect. And what is it going to take? What kind of training do we need to put in place to get this right? Because if we don't get it right, I'm actually gonna again side with the people in Texas to say if they can't get it right, then it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I don't see how that makes good sense to search a 90-plus-year-old woman and have her remove her diaper for her to get on the flight. And they said, well, we didn't make her do it. Well, you weren't going to let her get on the flight. So obviously you made her do it. If you go to an airport to take a flight, they won't let you get on without this certain stipulation, then you have to do that. They make you do it. So I think that, again, we have to get back to, this is where we lose principles of our Constitution, and it's just kind of blown in the wind. Time magazine actually wrote an article. It's on the cover saying, does the Constitution even matter anymore? And quite simply, if we've already gotten to that point, then we really need to get back to some constitutional values to simplify things. I mean, we've expanded the powers of government to the point that we think they're supposed to do everything, and that certain people out here are not willing to think for themselves and create. And that's what America's always been about, is creation, not waiting on government to do things and not looking for them to provide, whether it be health care, food, services. That is the job of the individual here in America, and I think that we really kind of got to get back to that if we ever want to shrink the size of government, and for people not to feel that it's the job of government to do everything for everybody. So, again, I want to hear your opinions on it. We're going to be wrapping up shortly. What do you think about that? Was the lady who got searched, should she be as ticked off as I am about the situation? Are the TSAs just doing their job? Where do you stand on that, America? Give me a call. I know my buddy Justin Amash needs to take a closer look at that and see what he can do about it, and I'll be reaching out to him, hopefully get him on the show to talk a little bit more about that. How do you think about that? 347-996-3175. I'm about to be going off the air soon. Again, this is the first time I've been on the air in about, I want to say, almost three months. And I was gone for too long. In that period of time, I was able to create a nonprofit organization called the Urban Conservative League, and I'll tell people more about that as time goes on. But I've really got a great team of people around me, my board, and people on my advisory committee, and I'm really looking forward to pushing forward on being productive in my community, and hopefully this is something that can go to other communities and show a template of how conservatives in general can get involved in communities and make a difference where it's not, everything is not a political stance. If you're pro-life, then you should definitely have no problem coming in and getting involved with these emergency pregnancy centers, whether it be through volunteering. There's ways that we can all help out and work together to get things done. So I'm looking forward to that. Give me a call here. I got a few more minutes on the air, 347-996-3175. I'm going to be switching up some times. We're going to either do the 9 to 11, Tuesdays and Thursdays, or we're going to try again for some morning shows to see where we can get the most participation and what works best for not only me, my family, and also the listeners. I want people to be able to listen, and if you're in the evenings, if you're getting ready to go to bed or getting your kids ready, it might not be the best time, but I want to hear from you. I want to get your input, so feel free to email me at twitterfam@conservativeiscool.com. Feel free anytime to join me on Twitter at WBConservative, and let me know how you enjoyed the show and what we can do to make it better. We're going to be coming back with some great guests shortly. To kind of let us know exactly where we're at with this country. I want to bring on some of our leaders, some more of our elected leaders, like I have in the past, like with Alan West and Michelle Bachmann and Pete Hoekstra and Thaddeus McCotter, Mike Rogers. I want to bring those people back on the show, and we can talk about the direction of this country, some of these candidates. And like I said, it's going to be really interesting. I still think the normal, what I call the usual suspects of the party are going to be there. Michelle Bachmann, who I think Michelle Bachmann and Herman Cain both offer what common folks, Tea Party people, independents are looking for, which is someone that's not been corrupted by the D.C. or politics culture. I think Michelle Bachmann is going to have a few of those issues moving forward, but it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. Herman Cain is truly the only one that's not a politician that doesn't have a record, good or bad, on how that plays out. He's not a career politician, so it'll be very interesting to see how this pans out. I'm about to go off the air. It's been a fun night. I want to thank everyone that called in, Mike, Fred, everyone that called in from across the country tonight. Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you getting involved. The call-in number is 347-996-3175. And we'll be ramping this back up again. I know. Again, I haven't been on in a while, and I really hope that people enjoyed the show tonight. And again, it's always open for debate. Both sides are welcome. I'm a conservative. I don't mind the liberals calling in. Keep it respectful with each other. We'll have no problem. So thanks again for everyone listening in. If you get a chance, check out my website, conservativescool.com. Be looking out for more information about the Urban Conservative League. And thank you so much again for participating tonight, whether it be on the chat room or through calls. And I look forward to working with and interacting with more of my fans and friends on the website and on Twitter. Thanks a lot. God bless you. Good night.